Okay, hi, good evening. 30 years ago, I was standing in the same premise of this university as a student who wanted to get an admission over here. I could not get admitted here. No fault of university. I had very poor marks, so basically I failed, right? So that was probably the first hard-hitting no which I got in my life, where I thought there is no future. I cannot become an engineer. But the story is not very sad. I actually did very well. Few years down the line, I was working in US, working for a very high-end technology project and enjoying my life. So things do not stop there when you face a problem. Obviously, after that, I got into startups, and I did my first startup into logistics. Second one, so the first one was successful. The second one was a failure. And my recent startup, it is recently featured on national television. So we got a lot of popularity there. Today, what I'm going to do is when I look back at my journey, I mean, working with startups is tough, right? You have to solve new challenges every day. Every challenge is crucial. Given that most of the startups fail, when you start with a startup, it is almost always guaranteed that you are going to fail. And it is your job to create opportunities for yourself and not fail, right? So the one who does that succeeds. So today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a formula for success. And when I say formula, I'm talking about a real mathematical formula. So when you run that formula, you can run it repetitively, it will never fail. You can always succeed in life. So let me just quickly talk about my startups. My first one, like I was working in US and I got a job opportunity. And those guys said, Ranjit, we want you to build a product. And we also want to start an offshore center in India. So I said, I will take that job. I will start your offshore center in India. But instead of going to a larger metropolitan city like Pune, Mumbai, Bangalore, I want you to go back to Aurangabad, which is my hometown, which is this town. Because for me, it was, I mean, obviously it was a new venture, but it was a way for me to give back something to the town which I belong to. So I took that responsibility, came here, and we started with a team of 4. Ultimately, we grew to a team of 150 plus, and we were supporting most of the large retailers in US. So we were doing product development, professional services, support, everything from here, from Aurangabad. So I had a nice success, nice exit out of it. Second one, it did not go well. This is actually, you can see, so this picture is from one of my first startup. Many of the guys who started career with me, now they have become great names in the software industry. Many of them are working for large social media giants. You can actually recognize their faces, I hope. The second one did not go well. The third one, why I'm telling you this? Because there is a specific mindset we need to have while looking at the problems. For instance, how many of you are aware of potholes, like the gaddas on the road? Most of us, right? All of us. But we take that for granted. We look at potholes and we say, boss, things are going to be like this forever. We looked at it, we talked with different people, and we realized that there is actually a core issue behind that, what we can solve. Because we get potholes, and then the municipal corporation or road authorities, they ask you to take a picture and report them the pothole. Why can't they go on the road? Because they cannot. When we looked at this problem, we realized that there is a life cycle for the road. Most of the Indian road network is pretty old now. We can never have enough money to replace all the roads. So that's an opportunity, right? And India is the second largest road network in the world. So it is not practical for anybody to go on every road every day. And to make a decision, you have to have a lot of data. So we came up with some cool concepts, like one of the AI model we came up with works like this. So you mount your smartphone camera, and it just starts picking up potholes on the road. You don't have to do anything. The potholes immediately get reported to the authorities. There is also a vibration-based module. Ultimately, what we do is we create maps like this, where all the red spots you're looking at, those are very high pothole areas. This is Mumbai, if you can tell. I'm very proud to say that we are first in the world who has mapped more than 50,000 kilometers of roads for potholes, and we do that every day. So that scale was possible due to technology. And getting customers in 5 different countries kinds of validate that yes, there was a true problem, what we tried to fix. Now, coming back to the topic, when I look at this entire journey and the problem-solving tendency what I have, I realize that there is a pattern behind this, right? What is the pattern? I mean, is it my intelligence? Is it my luck or fortune? Actually, none of the above. I mean, my IQ is probably here, below the knee level. I'm not a lucky person, and I definitely do not have a lot of money. So, in fact, I had to sell off my house to fund one of these innovations. But still, that kida is there, you know. So when you look at this pattern, you realize that if you are going to fail with startups, with most of the problems, then you should fail fast, right? And that creates more opportunities for you. So today, I'm going to give you that formula, as I promised earlier. But first of all, let me tell you that it's a real formula, what you can use in your life to solve any problem. It's a very secret formula. Do not tell that to anyone. Keep it to yourself. This formula was passed upon to me by my father in a very traditional, ancient Indian ritual called as prad. I didn't know what happened. It took me 20 years to understand exactly what happened that day. But I'm going to give you this formula for free, so I want you to listen to it very carefully. Okay. So the formula is success equals 0 minus problem plus minus 1. How many of you can understand this formula? Raise your hand, please. Okay, great. Obviously, you cannot understand this formula, right? There is nothing in it. Let me explain this formula. First of all, problem is your problem statement. So you do 0 minus 1. So you turn its polarity. And then you do plus minus 1. Why a formula is required? Why opportunity creation is required? A simple example, let's say there are 2 friends, same background, same educational qualification, both of them lost their job, and they are looking for a new job. One of the person gets a new job in 1 week, but the other person gets a new job in 1 month or 3 months. We typically say, this guy was more lucky, this guy was less lucky. I mean, we see examples like this everywhere. But the advantage first guy has is he or she can create 4 different opportunities in the same time span. See, you look at our life. We started from test matches, we came to 1 days, now we are at 2020. We started from 3-hour-long movies, and now we are down to 1-second videos on social media platforms. So time is a very precious commodity. So it is very important in today's world that we should be able to take decisions fast. Even if we fail, that is fine. But we have to create an opportunity and move forward. So that is why here you can clearly see that the second guy was waiting for a golden opportunity, but the first guy created opportunity for himself or herself. So this formula is about creating opportunities. Okay, coming back to the formula. Mathematically, very simple. Let's say number 9 is our problem, right? Or whatever, number 9. 0 minus problem. 0 minus 9. What is it? Minus 9. So you changed its polarity. And then plus minus 1. So minus 10 or minus 8. These are your answers. Got it? How many of you got it? Okay, I'm very afraid of you because you cannot get this. There is no sense to this. Okay, but thank you very much for being such a nice audience. Let me take a real life example. As I mentioned, the flow is put your problem in simple words, find an anti-statement, and find its nearest neighbors, right? Let me take a simple example. Everyone wants me to study. It is my problem. I don't want to study. Right? Very common problem. I mean, I had this problem every time. How do you solve this problem? Right? It is just an emotion. So how do you overcome this emotion? Let us run it through the formula. What is the opposite of this line? I mean, I do not want to study, right? You did 0 minus 1, found the anti-statement. And then you found the nearest neighbors. I will not study for 4 days. What it also means is I will study for 3 days, right? But that is in the bracket. So you are using a negative narrative to train your mind to think something positive. Or if you have to say, I will not study, say that I will not study this subject. That also means that you will study some other subject. So this is how the formula goes. Convinced yet? Okay, let me go to the next example. Let us say you are a startup and you are trying to find a solution to some business problem, right? So let us talk business. Let us talk about no parking signs. I am always frustrated with this negative messaging what we have as a society, you know. I mean, why no parking? When I am trying to look for a parking spot, what I want to see is park here, right? No parking. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Or do not spit here. Rather put a board that spit here so people can do what is needed. So no parking is the problem we want to work on. What is the anti-statement? Park here, no issues, right? Is it possible? No, because we have limited spaces. There are too many people who want to park there. What are the nearest neighbors? Park here for 10 rupees. Park here for 15 minutes only. These are opportunities. And if you are creative, like once you start thinking in that way, if you start creating more number of options, you can realize that you can find some crazy ideas. Like there is an apartment building right next to this, and most of the guys there go to their office, so their parking spots are free in the apartment, which they have purchased. I am creating an app which allows them to rent their parking spots to anybody who wants to park. Obviously, there will be more challenges down the line, regulatory challenges, compliances, etc. But you at least saw an opportunity. Now you are getting convinced a little bit that this can actually create some opportunities. Great. So coming back to the problem. See, I explained this formula, but I mean, there is no real mathematics going on here, right? We all understand. It is more about psychological. I never believed this idea until I used it for the benefit of somebody else. Forget about my own benefit. There were a few of my friends who were totally into depression. But when I started talking with them, with all these opportunities which are obviously in front of them, they started seeing hope. They did not pick up any of the plus minus one which I came up with. They created their own, but at least that mental process started. Let me give you one last example before I go. Working with startups is tough, right? You are always dependent on money, revenue. One of the customers says, sorry boss, I don't have money this month, I'll pay you after 6 months. You don't know how to pay salaries, especially if you are bootstrapped. I mean, burning somebody else's money is always fun, but I always preferred having a bootstrapped startup. So how do you do that? One such example happened with me that I had a team of 40, and we realized that some of our payments got delayed, and we don't have money to pay salaries. And we have to, ultimately, the only solution available is cut down the workforce, to lay off the people. Now, how do you do that? I mean, this is a startup, right? And these are not only employees, but these are your friends. These are your buddies. You have chosen them very carefully. How can you ask them to go home and you don't have a job starting from tomorrow? So when you think of such a problem with a positive mindset, let us try to solve that problem. What is the entire statement? I have a lot of money, boss. Don't worry. You can stay here forever you want. But I don't. That's not possible. Which is the nearest neighbor we found? Oh, somebody else might have money for this guy. So what I did was I called all my friends in different IT companies, large IT companies, and I invited them to my company, not my college, to my company for campus interviews. And I arranged campus interviews for all these guys. They went through tests and written tests and whatever, and they got selected in their new job. And there was a strong reference, right? I was saying that, okay, this guy is good, I know. And they got their new job offer. Then we gave them termination letters from this company. So when you start thinking about it, and when you start applying this to other people, benefit of other people, this formula can add a lot of value in your life. Anyways, 5 years down the line, I want one of you to be standing here, giving a TED talk and telling how this formula created the solstice you wanted in your life and how it helped you run faster in your professional career. One last exercise we are going to do. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Think about any problem in your life, whatever small, large, you don't have to tell me, just think about it, okay? 5 seconds. Great. Now, find the anti-statement. In pure plain English, something which is ideal case scenario, something which is impossible. Okay? 5 seconds again, find the anti-statement to that problem. Now this ideal case scenario is definitely not possible. That's why it's a problem. Now you find the nearest neighbor, plus minus 1. Try to play around with the words, play around with the money part, play around with the time part, person part, change the words, and see if you can find similar statements, similar options around that. Again, 5 seconds. Do you see any options? Raise your hand if you do. Fantastic. These are the opportunities, what you can go for it. Thank you very much.